Thank you all for joining us for the Funding Your Graduate Degree to a Graduate Assistantship workshop. Joining today is Ashlyn Gray, the Associate Director of Graduate Financial Services. She is going to discuss different strategies for finding your graduate studies and highlight graduate assistantships. I'm going to hand it over to Ashlyn to get started.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Here we go. My name is Ashlyn Gray, and I am the Associate Director here at the Graduate College. I've actually been working here at the Graduate College for 6 years, but have been at UNLV for 16 years. I actually started as an intern and pretty much have held every position here on campus at every level. And hopefully going all the way to the top, that's the goal here. I am actually a first generation college student, and I completely paid for my degree using loans and scholarships. I'm going to talk specifically about those two, but then other opportunities to leave you with the less amount of debt as possible. I do run the GA program here, but over the last 6 years, I've become fluent in the language of university funding. So hopefully I'll be able to answer all your questions today. You can just put all of your questions in the chat if you'd like, or you can unmute yourself. I'm not sure how quickly we will get through this presentation, depending on the questions that you have and me getting through all the information I have to share with you. As Paradis mentioned, you will have this presentation on the YouTube channel to refer back to. I also created a participant version that will be emailed out to you, hopefully, because I have included links throughout the presentation for you to be able to access some of this information on your own. I have also included my contact information here on the page, just in case you have more questions or you want to work on your situation specifically. Maybe you have veteran affairs funding or another scholarship that you're bringing with you, and we can look over that information together. So I have included my contact information, and feel free to reach out to me at any time. The objectives for this session, by the end of the session, I hope that you understand the important financial decisions that arise during graduate school, become familiar with campus financial resources, and know the pros and cons of financial aid, loans, grants, scholarships, fellowships, and then specifically graduate assistantships. Just a little overview of how we'll go through this presentation today. I'll touch on the Fafsa first. We'll go over funding possibilities, so what is available to you. I will also go into detail about the graduate assistantship positions and what you would need to do to possibly obtain one of those. We'll give you some things to consider when you're actually seeking out funding, and then I'll leave you with some resources at the end so you can check out this stuff on your own as you're doing your planning. When I was an undergraduate, I mostly used loans to fund my degree, but I wish I would have known about all the other resources that were actually available to me. Grad school can seem completely impossible if you really don't know your options. I have a lot of students that come to us for guidance, and really, without funding, they would not be able to attend UNLV. So it's really a focus of our area to be able to provide students not only with graduate research assistants positions, but also every available funding on campus and in the community, so that you all have basically a wide range of options, because we know every option out there is not going to apply to every student. Now, I'm sure many of you are already in the habit of submitting the Fafsa form. I know that a lot of you in this presentation are undergrad students currently, but if not, before each year of school, make sure to submit the FAFSA, which is known as the Free Application for Federal Student Aid form. UNLV uses all of this data that is collected to determine your federal aid eligibility. The university also uses this data to determine internal graduate awards. So after you've submitted your FAFSA, you'll receive a student aid report. And on that report, you'll receive some information. The first piece of information is your expected family contribution. This is how much, based on what you've submitted in the form, you will be responsible for in terms of what the federal guidelines expect you to pay out of pocket. Now, we understand a lot of times those amounts are way higher than practically everyone can actually spend. So that's where the grants and loans and scholarships come into play based on that EFC amount. It will also be the student report will also be able to tell you your estimated eligibility for student loans and if you need to submit any more information for verification. The recommended deadline to complete your FAFSA for the following year is November 15th. So if you all are hoping to go to school in August of this year and get into a grad program, hopefully you've already completed your FAFSA form for this year. I know financial aid starts running those reports in April to prepare your financial aid packages for the upcoming year. If anybody on the call is actually not eligible to fill out the FAFSA form, so if you went to a school outside of the United States for your K through 12, you won't be able to fill out the FAFSA, or if you are an international student. We don't want to leave you out of the process. So the university actually uses what they call an alternate need determination form. And this form can be submitted by any student that is not FAFSA eligible. And this is what internally the university uses to determine how much aid we could possibly give you as well. While you might not be eligible for federal aid specifically, there are still institutional funds that may be available to you. And actually, the grad college provides something called an access grant that is based on your GPA and also your expected family contribution. For our international students, that is simply based on your GPA and how much funds we actually have to give out. So if you are an international student, make sure to fill out that form as well. That form is available through the UNLV financial aid website, and you submit it directly to them, and they will use that for your consideration. Beyond the FAFSA form, we encourage you to learn about and pursue financial aid resources that you actually don't have to pay back, such as grants or scholarships or graduate assistantship. Anything in this presentation that's underlined will lead you on to a link. I'm not going to open all of those today, but you will have a chance to explore around once you receive the presentation. GA positions are a great way to get a paycheck, also spend a lot less on tuition and fees, and then also gain invaluable experience with faculty and students here on campus. I will actually go a bit more into all these funding resources on the next slide. I just wanted to give you an overview of what types of things are available to you. One thing that I did add on here recently is payment plans. So the university actually does offer a payment plan for your tuition and fee bill. The earlier that you enroll in classes, you can actually enroll in the payment plan earlier. The payment plan, if you enroll in April, will allow you to pay your tuition back to pay your tuition in 6 different payments. And so that is going to give you the smallest payment. The later you wait to enroll in that payment plan, say August, your repayments are going to be much larger because the cashiering gives you there's 6 payments available for that one semester. So if you enroll in August, you're kind of closing in on your time that all your bill does have to be paid. So just so you know, if you wanted to enroll early and get started paying that balance down early, that is available to you. Not a lot of students know about the payment plan until it's too late. So I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that that is actually a resource that you can use as a funding, like a funding mechanism. Any questions or anything? Or we keep going? Okay, great. So for this slide, I'm just going to go a little bit more in depth to all the different types of funding that I just mentioned. So graduate assistance, I'm going to highly encourage and emphasize the GA program because that's the program that I run. And honestly, I think it is the best way to fund your graduate program if the circumstances are all there for you to take a position. GAs are both students and employees of the university. Graduate assistants work in classrooms, laboratories, and offices on campus, and they contribute to the overall academic mission of the university. There's many benefits to holding a GA position, which I'll go into a bit in a little bit more in a little bit, and kind of outline every benefit that I see for students that are that receive a GA position. Specifically for scholarships, fellowships, and awards. Scholarships are awarded to students based on merit, financial need, or other qualifications, such as being in a certain academic program, having a high GPA, or being part of a professional organization. Scholarships are generally awarded in much smaller amounts and may cover just some of your educational expenses. You are able to apply for multiple scholarships at a time. So even if you were to receive multiple small scholarships, that could actually cover the full cost of your education expenses, depending on how many small scholarship awards that you receive. Fellowships are typically awarded to doctoral students and are highly competitive. Fellowships are awarded in much higher amounts than scholarships and provide funds to cover all of the tuition and fees for a student, plus receive a living stipend. Fellowships are awarded based on merit and assist in the advancement of the awardee's research. So the goal of a fellowship is for the student to just focus on their academic pursuits without having any employment duties. So a fellowship is similar to a graduate assistantship. However, the focus of the fellowship will be that student's research. Awards. Awards can fall into many different categories. The Graduate College actually provides awards and program participation scholarships to our students here. These types of funding are based on achieving a certain milestone, being recognized for your outstanding work in your program, or by participating in one of the many professional development programs offered by the Grad Academy. Some of the award opportunities include Outstanding Graduate Student Teaching Award, the Outstanding Thesis and Dissertation Award, the Nevada Regents Scholar Award, and the Western Association of Graduate Schools Award. All of these uh, all of these awards are participation based and based on your participation in things like Grad Rebel Advantage, Grad Rebel Writing Boot Camp, and the Rebel Grand Slam. So there are also opportunities throughout your grad career to obtain awards outside of your immediate planned financial aid. So you never know during the semester, randomly you could receive an award that then is applied to your account. Just so everyone knows, I may talk about this later, but it just came to mind right now. Any fellowships and awards that you receive or scholarships that you receive over the cost of your tuition, you will actually be reimbursed for those. So, say you've paid your full tuition and then randomly you get an award for participating and winning. you know, I'm trying to think what they call it, placing in the Rebel Grand Slam in April, then you would get an award then, and that award would be automatically reimbursed to you through direct deposit if you're signed up for that. So there's opportunities to get funding throughout the year as well. Make sure to check your email and also watch for any announcements and deadlines regarding funding opportunities while you're in your graduate career. Not checking your email or staying up to date is not a good excuse for missing any funding deadlines, and there are a lot of awards that come through that way. For financial aid and loans, specifically the FAFSA, so I actually went into that in depth a little while ago. But students should feel free to fill out the FAFSA or the alternate need determination form every year by the priority deadline to be eligible for need-based university funding. So you actually, I believe, maybe you can submit the FAFSA for the next upcoming year right now. But you can always check the link that I provided at the top and just make a note in your calendar. Set yourself a little reminder for sometime around October, and then you can be able to go in there, fill out your FAFSA, and make sure you have everything in on time so that when financial aid is coming up with their funding packages, you're included in that. There are some funding opportunities that are based on the time that you submit your FAFSA. So, for example, the Access Award, we only have a certain amount of money to be able to give to students. So we have to determine, you know, what is the cutoff for the amount of money we have because we have a lot more students than money. So we do use financial aid actually uses when you've submitted your FAFSA form as a determining factor in when the cutoff for funding it is placed. So if you turn your FAFSA form in, uh, you know, February of the next year, you may be lower in the pool of funding than someone who submitted in October of the year before. So that's just something to know, and that can play a role in what type of funding you do receive based on the time frame that you submit all of your paperwork. For grants, this is basically free money. Grants are based on need and do not actually need to be repaid in any way. Here, you can fill out the FAFSA to be eligible for funding as well. So the GC gives away over $1 million in access grants, and that's the funding I was just talking about. That's given away based on your expected family contribution and your GPA. The university does have a very large loan and financial aid program. It's important to note that graduate students can take out unsubsidized loans, which actually means that the interest begins to accrue right away. So right when you start school. If you're not making payments while you are also taking classes, that interest is added to the principal balance for when you graduate. So make sure you're accepting only what you need to keep your loan costs down. The university has a great way of making sure students aren't getting more funding than they actually need. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few slides. But if for some reason you do see that your financial aid amount is low that you're being offered, you can always look back at that expected family contribution and kind of get an idea if you are, a dependent of your parents, if their information is factored in there. Sometimes students can be a bit shocked when they go to look at what financial aid is actually offered to them, and sometimes they have to come up with a lot more money than they had planned to. So make sure that the university, what what you're accepting from the university is something that you are able to pay back in terms of loans. And then know that the university is going to look out for your best interest in this way, and really not try to give you more than is necessary. Necessary is different for all of us. Some grad students actually use their loans. To pay for their living. A lot of students can't work at the same time that they're taking a full load. I know social work students are required to enroll in 15 credits per semester. So it can kind of be difficult to take a 15 credit load and work a full-time job at the same time. So a lot of, especially students in those type of programs, may depend highly on loans, uh, to live their life also. So that's just something to consider as well. Just, I want everyone to know all of their options and all of the things that can come up. I have a lot of students who assume things are going to be one way, and then they get into their program and they start taking classes, they start enrolling in classes, and then the sticker shock comes. Coming for the next upcoming fall, tuition is now running $314 per credit. And so that does not include any fees or special fees. So that is just for one credit, $314. So going back into me referring to social work, where their program requires 15 credits per semester, if you're talking about $315 essentially per credit, we're getting up into high amounts of money that some students just can't afford. So programs that do require that are going to have a higher cost of attendance, which is factored in. But I just wanted to let everyone know some of the ins and outs that aren't really public, in terms of paying for grad school or college in general. A lot of students don't know this information beforehand, and so, yeah, like I said, it can be kind of jarring when you do enroll in classes and you see that that balance, especially if you're a student who is not a Nevada resident. That we'll go into a little bit more as well, but just so you know, that is another factor when funding your education. I think there's one, yep, one more section. So for external funding, just a note to say that external funds are available outside of the university. The Division of Research subscribes to Pivot, which you'll have a link in here for, which is an easy to use searchable database for finding current funding opportunities specifically tailored to research needs for faculty, staff, and students. So Pivot provides information about funding sources for for researchers in all fields. So if your main goal with going to grad school is to do research, this is a great resource for you to check out to see if there is any funding opportunities outside of the university, outside of the federal government, that can go towards your direct research that you are doing. Specifically, something um, that you could apply for, which is another great external funding opportunity, is called the Graduate Research Fellowship through the National Science Foundation. So NSF recognizes and supports outstanding graduate students in any NSF supported STEM program, which is a lot more than you would think. Um, this is actually a 5-year fellowship, and it includes 3 years of financial support that include a stipend and all the cost of your education. So, this is a fellowship that you apply for outside of the university through the National Science Foundation, but you can actually take this fellowship to any university that you attend. It is your money based on the research that you plan on doing in grad school. Um, this is funding you can apply for before your grad program begins or during the early stages of your graduate career. So I had a student who applied in the first year of his master's program, and then actually the next year enrolled in a doctoral program and was able to be funded through NSF for the entirety of his doctoral program. The NSF funding does provide a stipend of $34,000 a year. So that is a very solid amount. I don't know any GAs that are even making that much money. So that would, and then there are no job duties attached to that funding. So there are really cool opportunities out there like this that not enough students know about. I think we have only 3 NSF fellows here at the university. And so that is something that we really like to push because those funds are guaranteed for you. And like I said, they specifically go with you as a student, which is usually different when funds are awarded to the university that you just can take a part of. So this is a really cool opportunity. So I want to share that with you. And that there is a link included in the presentation for you. I'm going to take a breath real quick and see if there are any questions about all that information I just threw at you. And then we'll go ahead and talk about GAs in a second. I'm going to check the chat. Oh, yes, tuition is expensive. And I believe right now it's set to go up every year. So um, right now it's 305, and so it's going up for fall 22 up to 314, and it will continue to rise. So as inflation becomes a factor and tuition costs rise, this presentation becomes more and more relevant, which is why I love to talk about graduate assistantships. If your life circumstances allow it, becoming a GA is the best way to pay for your graduate degree, in my opinion. I'm going to go over all the benefits, but there are just so much more that I couldn't even put everything on this slide. The first one is a monthly stipend. Now, I'm putting this at the top because it's actually not the best benefit of becoming a GA. The Grad College and the Graduate Professional Student Association are currently working on raising that minimum stipend. So right now, master students are set at a specific stipend, minimum stipend, and then doctoral students have a range of stipends depending on the program that they're in. We tried to make those stipends pretty competitive, which I believe that they were 5 years ago. And so now they haven't changed since 2016. So those stipends really need to be raised up because, like seeing here, a master's student receiving 1125 a month is not a lot to live on. So but know that you will receive a monthly stipend if you become a GA. I'm actually going to look at this question real quick that was thrown in chat. Whether or not what is it? Oh, great question. So Tracy put in the chat, one of my concerns is whether or not a GA will distract from graduate studies. What is the reality of balancing the GA with personal graduate studies? Great question. So for all GAs, your priority is school. That's actually one of the benefits of becoming a GA, is that you will only work 20 hours a week, and your GA-ship must benefit your academic program. So really, a graduate assistantship, the purpose of it is to enhance your graduate program. So a lot of GAs actually get positions within the program that they're under. So say you're a social work student, and you are able to get a position with the social work department, they will actually have you either teaching, so teaching undergrad social work classes, um, working directly with students in terms, a lot of students in grad school here either want to become faculty members or do research. And so a lot of times, based on what your desire is, you could get a position either doing teaching or research with the direct population you want to work with in the future, and presenting on the exact topics that you're either researching on, or studying in your program. So really GA positions are integrated into the academic program uh, in order to keep that balance. We also don't allow GAs to work over 20 hours without separate approval. So even if you try to get a job at Starbucks, I mean, we're not going to come to Starbucks and see if you have this form filled out, but we really encourage departments to limit students' work outside of a GA position so that the focus stays on their academics. So this is a great partnership actually between your grad program and a way to fund your a way to fund that program. Another benefit of becoming a GA is tuition coverage up to 9 credits. So for the upcoming year, this looks like about a $5,000 reduction from your tuition bill. And as you can see, every little bit helps. And so if you do not enroll in up to 9 credits, you will receive coverage for however many credits you do enroll in, not to exceed 9. So speaking of, I'm going to keep using my social work 15 credit example. So if you were a social work GA and your tuition waiver would cover the first 9 credits, and then you would be responsible for the remaining credits, the remaining 6, plus any fees. But having a $5,000 reduction in the tuition could be a great way to limit your loans, especially. The next benefit is an out-of-state tuition waiver. So if you are considered an out-of-state resident right now, I think a lot of you are undergrad students here at UNLV. So if that is the case, it's most likely that you already have established residency here. But if not, all GAs receive an out-of-state tuition waiver. So right now, I think it's around $16,000 per year for non-residents to enroll in grad school. If you are a GA, that will be waived all the semesters that you are a GA. We do encourage you to establish residency here if you can before your GA runs out. So for example, if you're only a GA for 1 year, or you've only been guaranteed for a small portion of your grad career to be a GA, after that GA ends, you will go back into the out of state tuition status and you will be charged those higher amounts. Currently, actually, it just went into effect fall of this year of 2021. Now, any GA will receive, or every GA will receive free student health insurance. So, student health insurance is mandatory for all all graduate students enrolled in 9 credits or more. If you're enrolled in 9 credits, you will see the mandatory student health insurance show up on your bill, which right now it's around $2,900 per year, which is split into 2 payments. For fall, there is 1 payment, and then for spring, you actually pay for spring and summer. So it is full year, 12-month coverage. All GAs receive a full waiver for that. You can enroll in your own health insurance, but at this point, you receive free health insurance from us. So why would you? Um, GAs are considered full time at 6 credits. So currently, you are considered full time at 9 credits. And depending on if you're full time or part time student, that contributes back to your financial aid that you'll be available for, and also, you know, just kind of really at 9 credits, you're moving through your program at probably a pretty good pace. But because you have a GA ship, so this is kind of going back to Tracy's question as well. Because you have a GA ship, we actually consider you full time, only being enrolled in 6 credits. So there comes another chance for balance when you do have 20 hours a week that you have to work. We do really expect that you will enroll in at least 6 credits, but it is not required that you go over that depending on your goals for graduation. All GAs also receive a summer GA tuition benefit. So, this is a cool opportunity that if you are appointed as a GA for the spring and then the next upcoming fall of that year, you can actually request a tuition benefit for the summer if you plan on enrolling. It is not required. But this summer benefit will cover 3 credits during the summer. So you can get through your program sooner. You don't actually have to be working as a GA during this time to receive this benefit. It's for students that are appointed in the fall and springs to kind of give some relief during that summer to move you along in your program. Also, while working as a GA, there are loans available. So these you do have to pay back, but you can apply for up to $500 per semester, and we only charge $1 per $100. So that is a great interest rate. And then your repayment comes out of your stipend. So it's done through payroll where it automatically comes out each month, the repayment back for the loan. So it's kind of a nice setup if you just need a quick cash. We actually can get you the money the next day within 24 hours for this loan. So you can apply for that once a semester. There are also great career opportunities. A lot of our GAs, not just at the grad college, but across campus, are actually hired on as full time staff members after they graduate. We actually have some students that resign from their GA positions in order to become full time staff members. So there are a lot of opportunities once you start working with the department. They kind of look to their graduate assistants to fill positions that they have open, especially part-time instructor positions. So being a GA kind of gets you in the door, and then who knows? Like we have a lot of students here, even here at the graduate college specifically, that started as GAs and now are full-time staff right next to me. The last thing I wanted to highlight was the community and connection you get from becoming a GA. The grad college has many opportunities for GAs and grad students overall to receive support, professional development, and guidance. So, if you ever needed anything, the grad community is really there for you, not just for GAs, but when you do become a GA, you kind of become a part of a small team here at the university, and we are happy to help at any time with anything you need. Here at the Graduate College, we pride ourselves on providing 100% solutions. And that doesn't mean you're going to get the answer you want every time, but it means we are all going to do our best to find a solution to whatever it is that you're coming to us with. It may not be a solution that you want, but it will be a solution. So we are here to provide any guidance that you need while working as a GA or just a student in general. I'm just reading Joy's question about applying for NSF. Yes, if the MSW position is STEM eligible, you can go ahead and there's going to be a link in the presentation um, to letting you know all the programs that can apply for this. But yes, if you have already started or been accepted into the program for fall 2022, you can actually apply for the NSF grant in your first year as a master's student. So that is available to you. There are so many great benefits to working as a GA, as I just went over during your grad career. However, before you start submitting applications, there are a few things that you should consider. Like I said before, if becoming a GA works out with your life circumstances, it's a great opportunity for you. But know that it might not work for everyone, depending on what you have going on in your life and your plans for your grad career. We have around 5,000 graduate students here at UNLV, and there are only about 1,000 GA positions available. So there are some folks who are just not interested at all because they have their own jobs or their own priorities going on. But there are a lot of students seeking positions at the exact same time. That is something to know. The earlier you get started, the better. Also, The application process can be very confusing if you're just looking in the system and trying to determine what is really available to you. The GA selection process actually happens outside of the grad college, and most departments select their GAs based on the students that are in their program or being admitted. For example, the psychology department, if you are going into the psychology doctoral program, you will automatically be offered a GA position. They do not admit anyone to their program that they can't also offer a GA position to. And they do that to really integrate every one of their admitted students into the program fully by giving them GA duties, uh, so GA responsibilities, but also allowing them to collect a stipend and have their tuition and fees paid for. So psychology students specifically know what they're doing, and the GA position is built into their academic program, so that school life balance is kind of worked out from the chair and the dean of that college. Yep. Okay. So it is best to reach out to department grad coordinators or a faculty advisor to let them know you are interested in being hired as a GA, especially if this is the only way that you can attend the university. As some of you may have seen, if you've already applied for admission, you might have seen the graduate assistant tab in Grad Rebel Gateway. Grad Rebel Gateway will actually be the system that you will apply for GA positions. However, some departments actually do not review the applications that are submitted in Grad Rebel Gateway. I know that's a little confusing, but some departments in their selection process, number one, may only select students that they admit to their program. So, say you're an accounting student, but you're really interested in psychology and would love to get a GA ship in psychology. Just because you submit an application in Grad Rebel Gateway to the psychology department does not mean that someone in psychology is actually going to review your resume and consider you for a position. Because like I mentioned earlier, the psychology department has a specific way that they select their graduate assistants. So they have enough positions for students they admitted. So they're not going to go out seeking other students that are looking for positions. However, there are some departments that only use Grad Robo Gateway to review and select students. So at the end of the day, I really, really encourage everyone to speak directly to someone. You can go into Grad Rebel Gateway and submit an application for every single department on campus if you want. However, that's actually not the best way to go about getting a position. Um, if you want to, some departments actually, we really encourage you to reach out and chat directly with the faculty members. As I said, they will always know how many positions they have, what the eligibility looks like, so what you actually need to do to have a position with them, and then their timeline. So the deadline for departments, the recommended deadline for departments to appoint is May 15th. That way, students can have a great, a really good amount of time to consider all their options, possibly from other universities, or maybe you will get multiple offers from here at UNLV. So we want students to be able to make those decisions about their funding early on rather than at the last minute. So there are, just so you all know, there are some departments that are non-academic that also hire graduate assistants. So it isn't like if you find out that your department has hired all, if you're a mechanical engineering student, and mechanical engineering has fulfilled all their positions and spent all their money for available positions, you can still seek out positions in other departments. So you can, like I mentioned, you can work outside of mechanical engineering and apply for other departments or go talk to graduate coordinators of subjects that you're really interested in. Maybe you're a mechanical engineering student, but civil engineering also interests you and you would like to, contribute to that program as well. You can look into becoming a GA over there. Some of the non-academic departments that have positions are going to be like any student affairs office on campus. Financial aid actually has positions. The Disability Resource Center, Veterans Affairs, Academic Success Center, places like this that aren't connected to an academic program, but also need GAs, specifically the graduate college as well. Um, So you can start looking for new opportunities now. I've included a link that says available positions. So some departments actually do post job descriptions, and that all goes through career services. So a lot of our non-academic departments that don't have a direct pool of students to pull from will go ahead and post in on career services website that they are looking for a GA. They'll include all the details, and then you can apply to them directly through the career services website. Ultimately, you will have to get a position, an application in Grad Rebel Gateway, but through career services, you can actually see what departments have posted positions that are available. Has asked, where do they announce GA positions? Great question. So if any department is actively seeking a GA, they're going to post them through career services. So you can always look at the link. Since most of you are already students, you can actually go in there right now using your NSHE ID and look over any available positions. So if you have been admitted for fall, go in there now and see what's available, and you may be able to get a GA ship in the next couple of weeks, actually. If you do currently have a full-time job or can't afford to take a part-time position, you should know that GAs are required to work 20 hours per week and can only work an outside position with approval. And that position is only available to go up to 10 hours per week. So we really limit GAs to a working schedule of 20 hours per week. If you needed to take another job, we obviously understand and do not want to deny students money at any point. So there is a process to apply for additional work, but just know that you can, if you do have a full-time job and don't plan on giving that up, a GA probably wouldn't work for you. Something also to consider is that the GA health insurance, tuition, and out-of-state waivers are considered financial aid. So if you are expecting to receive financial aid loans, please understand that if you accept a GA position, the funding you are awarded will be considered in all of your overall financial aid award. So UNLV is not going to give you more in loans than it actually costs to attend. So I have provided a link to the UNLV cost of attendance calculator. They also have worksheets on this website to help you determine your tuition and fees, how much you would need to save, and how much aid you would need to request in order to attend UNLV. This cost of attendance is going to, like I said, if you do receive a GA position, that is going to be a factor in your financial aid award. So if you plan on using financial aid as your living expenses, know that your GA might significantly reduce that financial aid package that you were expecting. I also included a link to the GA handbook here that also includes all of the information that I've given and more. I think it's like 30 pages. And it goes over how to get a GA ship, what are some of the implications, the requirements while you're working as a GA can all be found in the GA handbook. Another resource that I wanted to share with you is actually called GradSense. And the Council of Graduate Schools has created this amazing financial resource page. And this page has a wealth of information on that include topics such as the value of your degree, creating a budget, actually saving money and paying for college, and a ton of other important topics that could be really helpful to you. I highly recommend visiting this website and taking advantage of all the resources that are available. They actually have a pretty cool infographic that is about transitioning out of grad school financially. And so, like, after you graduate, how do you prepare to start paying back some of these loans that you've taken out? And what does that look like? As a final takeaway, I've also included two slides here that contain links to articles and website that students often find helpful in regards to financial planning. I invite you to take a look at all of these links provided in the hopes that they give you some additional resources on your journey. We will send out the presentation as I mentioned, um, and you will have all these links available to you after the session is over. So I have 2 pages here for you. That is actually all I have for you today. I hope that you found this information helpful. I know an hour is really not a lot of time to talk about, especially funding in grad school. So, as I mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to, number one, put them in the chat right now or reach out to me individually. I included my name and phone number again. So, if you wanted us to look up your cost of attendance and get into the nitty-gritty of what that could cost you, and then what a potential GA could, how it could benefit you, I'm happy to do that type of work with you. I really love working with grad students, and so it's really important to me that you know all the resources available to you. I'm a huge advocate. So if at any point you run into any trouble with financial aid or cashiering and not getting maybe the information you need, feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to use my resources to get you through your program. That's all I have for you today. I'm going to check the questions. Yes, services is the same as Handshake. Those are both the same. So Handshake is the system that Career Services uses. So feel free to go through that and look at any available positions. Any other questions? Throw them in the chat, and if not, I will see you all soon. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm Ronnie.
Hi,
I did
Ronnie.
I did put my question in there, but
Oh, I
apparently
missed it.
you
I missed it.
I'm not sure if you were not able to answer it or
I did not see it. Do you want to ask me out loud?
yeah, that's
Sure.
fine.
Okay, great.
Okay, so how would it work if a grad student was funded by the VA, say under Chapter 31, and you were working as a GA?
So you would actually be able to receive both benefits. So the GA, depending on the funding that you receive, I know that the veteran funding usually comes in a little later than the GA funding is processed. So for most students, it looks like your GA covering the bulk of your position, and then any VA funding that you get in addition um, would cover those remaining fees. So what financial aid does, if you enter the process early enough, financial aid will actually consider that as part of your financial aid as well. So all of those numbers will kind of flesh out what financial aid is going to offer you. We would never stop you from holding both positions technically, or holding a GA position and then receiving outside funding. The VA funding is similar to scholarships and grants where it will just apply on top of. And then if you were to receive a reimbursement for any overpayment, then you would get a refund check.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So if typically
Mm-hmm.
both Chapter 33 and Chapter 31 with the VA pays 100% of the tuition and all the fees. So if you're working, do you receive that income?
So then you would receive a full stipend. And then there might be ways that we can apply your GA funding in other ways. So a lot of departments, so if the funding is coming from a department directly and they know that you're receiving that funding, they may take the tuition and fee package essentially and roll that into your stipend. So to increase your stipend so that you're technically not missing out by having VA funding. And knowing that your tuition and fees is already going to be paid for. So you technically wouldn't be able to take advantage of that benefit. So working with the department and letting them know that you do have other funding, we can always work it out. Really, we're a large office, but we're really small at the end of the day. And so we can do one-off type things for student specific needs.
So if you were okay, but at the same time, if you were just going to pay your tuition and fees with a GA position, and
Yes.
you were going to take 6 credit hours per semester, would that stipend probably pay depending on the department? Would that
What did you say? What about the stipend?
So if you were just going to pay your tuition and fees with your GA position, would the stipend pay if, say, you were just going to take 6 credit hours, as you mentioned, being full time as a GA, would that pay your tuition and fees?
Yes, so your stipend would be completely separate of that. And so you would, yes, you would receive your entire package, your entire GA package that you're awarded. So if you're only enrolled in 6 credits, we're not going to give you the money for 9. We're going to give you the money for 6.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to give you what you're enrolled in. So your overall GA package may be a lot higher of an amount than you actually end up receiving. Another example of that is if you have your own health insurance, your GA offer letter is going to reflect that the health insurance is going to be paid for. But if you are not enrolled in the health insurance, you will not receive that benefit. So it doesn't get packaged somewhere else.
So yeah, so if you have the military insurance, you don't need insurance. So
That
that
technically wouldn't be a benefit for you. Yeah.
it wouldn't affect anything.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, okay.
Or you could have both. Some students have both insurances.
Yeah, I don't see any benefit in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
You you answered my questions. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. Anything else? Paradis, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was very helpful. And I'm just going to say before we end today's session, we would like to thank our presenter for sharing her time and expertise with us today, and to thank our participants for joining us today. Before you all log off, please take a few minutes to fill out this workshop feedback survey we dropped in the chat. I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. And thank you so much, Ashlyn. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.